What if Anakin Skywalker was Mandalorian and still became a Jedi? Let's explore the depths of it in this video. Shmi Skywalker looks up at her newest master and tries to hide her fear as the grizzled warrior paces the starship, stepping over the bodies of the pirates who had captured them. At her side is her 3-year-old son. Anakin looks at the warrior who meets his gaze. Whether it's curiosity or bravery, the Mandalorian respects the child's boldness. Pre Vizla smiles and calls Shmi forward, saying she and her son will serve him directly. For the next 7 years, the Skywalkers will serve as Pre Vizla's servants, following him on campaigns and joining him in exile on Concordia as he is assigned as its new governor. Anakin grows up surrounded by warriors, watching them as they spar and battle each other. This enamors the young boy, who longs to earn his suit of armor. While that would be a dream for most, Anakin displays the talent that gets his captor's attention. As a talented mechanic, Anakin can repair damaged equipment, a skill that makes him invaluable to the Mandalorians. The second is his fearlessness, as he is the only servant willing to fight back against the guards. During one incident, a guard attempts to punish Shmi for poorly preparing his meal. He walks up and attempts to hit her, but Anakin steps forward. Laughing, the guard tries to give Anakin a backhand, but he ducks under the attack and shoves the Mandalorian back. To his surprise, the blow sends the warrior flying into a set of crates as Anakin accidentally channels the Force. The other warriors prepare to attack Anakin, but Pre Vizla orders them to stop. Instead, he takes Anakin to his chambers and asks him how he did that. The boy says he has no idea, something the warrior believes, and explains that he thinks Anakin is Force sensitive.
There are beings across the galaxy who can channel a power called the Force. This can allow them to perform incredible feats, like the one you did earlier.
Are you saying I'm one of these beings?
With enough training, yes. But I've noticed how you've been looking at my warriors. I take it you wish to join us.
It's my dream, Master. Pre Vizla smiles as he looks at the idealistic young boy. He had noticed the boy's admiration of the Mandalorian warriors for some time. With these powers, he saw an opportunity to mold him into a powerful warrior.
Then I will make you my foundling, my boy, on the condition that you pledge your services to Death Watch.
For Anakin, this was an easy choice, as it was his opportunity to leave his life as a slave behind. The two clasped hands, allowing Anakin and his mother to go free in exchange for his service to Death Watch. Anakin is now trained under Bo-Katan. He benefits from his mechanical skills and natural aggression, but the leader of the Night Owls instills discipline and skills in firearms, blades, and explosives. He quickly proves to be a natural fighter, further aided by his Force abilities. Without a Jedi to train him, Anakin has to rely on ancient texts to understand his powers. This makes mastering the Force slower, but allows Anakin to get the edge over his fellow warriors and quickly becomes one of the best fighters in Death Watch. However, while his skills would develop, Pre Vizla would become jealous of his success. Anakin was perhaps one of the few people who could outmatch him and would pose a threat to his rule over Death Watch. This is why he began to search for ways to get rid of him. This comes at a fortuitous moment, as Pre Vizla comes into contact with Count Dooku, leader of the CIS, who promises to use his separatist armies to help retake Mandalore, but only if they can inflame tensions and force the Republic to intervene, allowing the Death Watch to appear as liberators. To accomplish this, Satine must be killed. Anakin is sent to Coruscant to accomplish the mission. However, Satine's death proves to be more difficult, as his first 2 attempts fail, and she even receives a recording that might persuade the Republic to stand down. He follows Duchess Satine to a plaza where she hands over this recording to a Jedi. Anakin quickly realizes he must act now and lobs a thermal detonator at them. However, the Jedi manages to save them and ignite his lightsaber just as Anakin fires his blaster. He only gets a few shots before the Jedi slices his blaster in half. Tossing it aside, he ignites his flamethrower and manages to singe the Jedi's cloak, forcing him to discard it and reveal Obi-Wan Kenobi. Diving under the fire, Obi-Wan aims a blow at Anakin, but his Beskar armor protects him from the cuts. Undeterred, Obi-Wan unleashes a flurry of attacks that disorient Anakin and force him back. Snarling in anger, he unleashes a wave of the Force that throws Obi-Wan back. Shocked at this, the Jedi counters with his own attack. Being more experienced, he sends Anakin flying, who knocks his head against the ground, allowing Obi-Wan to capture him. When Anakin wakes up, he finds himself trapped in the Jedi Temple with Obi-Wan and Yoda.
How could a Jedi find himself working in an organization like Death Watch?
Troubling it is to see one so young in such an organization.
This young one is awake and can hear everything.
Obi-Wan immediately begins asking Anakin about his past and how he ended up in the Death Watch. While he was expecting an interrogation, these were not the questions he was anticipating. Still, he refused to talk. Seeing this, Obi-Wan changes tactics.
Forgive me. I was simply curious about how someone as strong in the Force as you would end up with the likes of Pre Vizla. I sense great power in you, and by all accounts, you should have defeated me.
This compliment takes Anakin off guard, and he finds himself unable to answer. In the Death Watch, might makes right, and Pre Vizla was never one to tolerate any form of weakness. In his eyes, Anakin's defeat would have resulted in him being cast off. To be complimented in defeat, especially by his opponent, was unheard of for him.
I don't understand these powers. I don't know why I have them.
Suspected as much I have. Never a master you had. But train you to use your powers. We can.
You? But you're a Jedi. A sworn enemy to Mandalore. I can't accept your help. I've sworn an oath to Pre Vizla. And what have they done to earn such loyalty?
For that, Anakin has no answer. Although he had sworn an oath, he has been having second thoughts about it, especially as Pre Vizla continues to take slaves. For someone like him who grew up in slavery, it never sat well with Anakin. Besides, it's not as if Pre Vizla ever trained him either. Reluctantly, he agrees to accept their offer. Obi-Wan decides to take Anakin on as his apprentice. Despite Anakin's age, his discipline from his Mandalorian training allows him to throw himself into his training completely. He soon begins to understand the full extent of the Force, learning new abilities he had never heard of from the ancient texts. His lightsaber combat and fighting abilities are among the best in the Order. Anakin never fully adapts to Jedi life and continues to fight in a unique style, blending his Mandalorian equipment with Jedi combat training. As Anakin finishes training, he's thrust into the war effort, fighting alongside Obi-Wan in countless battles throughout the Clone Wars. Despite initially meeting as enemies, Anakin and Obi-Wan quickly become friends. Anakin continues to think about his home planet of Mandalore, and Obi-Wan confesses to have been in love with Duchess Satine. Although a lot to take in, Anakin accepts his friend and understands that Pre Vizla and the Death Watch aren't the heroes he believed them to be. This comes at the right time, as towards the end of the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan receives a message from the Duchess, saying that Death Watch has assembled an army of criminals called the Shadow Collective, and has taken over Mandalore, and she needs his help. Obi-Wan is in a complicated position. Since Death Watch doesn't have CIS backing, the Republic doesn't have jurisdiction to intervene. If he wants to help her, he must do it alone. Well, not entirely alone. One person does volunteer to help, his friend Anakin Skywalker. For Anakin, it is his chance to see his home again and make things right by stopping Death Watch. Taking a ship, the two depart for Mandalore. The Jedi arrive on the planet in disguise and ask around to understand what's happened. To their surprise, they learn that Pre Vizla is dead, and the leader of Death Watch is Darth Maul. The name sends Obi-Wan's blood running cold, and he stumbles to one side. Anakin steadies him and frowns. The two head to an empty street to talk properly.
Who is Darth Maul? A man? No. A monster. He's a dangerous Sith Lord who's killed multiple Jedi, including my master. If he's taken over Mandalore, He's looking to draw me out.
So it's a trap,
Yes,
and we're walking into it.
correct.
Good. For a second I thought this mission would be boring. Besides, I'd like to meet the man who killed Pre Vizla. The two of them enter the prison where Satine is held. The Duchess is surprised to see Anakin, but is quickly assured he is on their side. The three manage to leave the prison and make their way towards the ship, but Maul's loyalists detect their escape and pursue them. The Mandalorians blow up their ship and bring them to the palace where Maul and his brother Savage will deal with them. Maul begins to force choke Satine, taunting Obi-Wan as he tells him to embrace the dark side. Obi-Wan clenches his fists and resists all efforts, while Anakin can only watch in awe as he sees the strength in his friend. But as Maul continues his speech, Anakin looks at his eyes and understands that he is about to do something terrible.
I never planned on killing you, but I will make you share my pain, Kenobi.
As Maul ignites his lightsaber, Anakin leaps forward with his hands raised. Wait! Savage steps forward and prepares to cut him down for his insolence, but Maul orders him back and looks at Anakin, dropping Satine on the ground. And who might you be? Me? I'm Anakin Skywalker, the greatest warrior of the Death Watch, and Pre Vizla's most trusted assassin. I challenge you to a duel. And you failed. I've heard of your failure to kill Satine. You are not fit to rule this clan. Better a failure than an outsider. Or half an outsider. Snarling, Maul shoves Anakin back with the Force, while a guard unlocks his binders and tosses him his lightsaber. As Maul rushes towards him, Anakin fires his blasters, forcing Maul to block his attacks before launching himself into the air with his jetpack. He fires another shot, but this time towards Obi-Wan's binders, allowing him to knock out the guard beside him and reclaim his lightsaber. He throws himself at Maul, but Savage bowls Obi-Wan aside and ends up toppling him to the floor, just as Maul leaps up and kicks Anakin down. Before he can get up, Savage rushes at Anakin and slices his lightsaber at him, forcing the Jedi to roll back and forth to avoid being cut. Anakin powers up his flamethrower and forces Savage back. Leaping to his feet, Anakin lets his armor protect him as he strikes Savage. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan and Maul are sparring, with Obi-Wan dodging and leaping over the Sith Lord's attacks, striking out with a lightsaber only when he finds an opening. As he joins him, he strikes Maul in the side, causing him to curse as he swings at Anakin, nearly decapitating him. Obi-Wan presses him and forces Maul back. Anakin joins him and reaches for a droid popper in his pack. He activates it. He drops it at Maul's feet. The EMP disables his legs, causing the Zabrak to lose balance and allow Obi-Wan and Anakin to swing their sabers and decapitate him. Savage snarls in surprise and rushes the two, bringing his lightsaber down on them. But while they cross swords, a dozen blaster bolts strike him in the back. He drops to the ground without a sound as the Mandalorians kneel around them. Anakin is made the new leader of Death Watch, claiming the Darksaber from Maul's body. With his new authority, Anakin leads the Death Watch down a more honorable path. He makes peace with Bo-Katan and her rebels, allowing them to rejoin the organization while reinstating Satine to Mandalore. The remaining criminals are expelled, allowing Mandalore to enjoy peace once again. They offer the remaining Death Watch a choice: to resettle on Concordia and act as the Mandalorian Defense Force, or to join Anakin in the war effort against the CIS. With Dooku's betrayal, it is easy to convince the Death Watch to join him, and many eagerly do. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.